JR is not very happy with Ken. Not very happy at all because his best friend chose not to take him to Alabama State University when he got there. He decided after checking in to go upstairs and take a nap. After checking into the hotel, JR gets into a car service to take him to Alabama State University. By 2:30 p.m., JR is being interviewed about Hendrick Oil and the political views of the company. JR notes that first he opposed his father's company's political views until he took his journey on June 30th. By 2:30 p.m., JR walks outside of his interview when a yellow convertible pulls up. JR, get in! JR, get in! A young woman said. Leslie? We're going to the airport. My grandfather's dying, and he wants us to take a tour of the city. Hey, let's go, JR said. By 2:50 p.m., Leslie's grandpa, Dalton, gave JR and Leslie an aerial tour of Montgomery, Alabama, promising them another one on Wednesday night with a state representative that JR would interview. By 7 p.m., Leslie takes JR out to eat at an Italian restaurant. Are you at loose ends like this all the time? On this trip? Leslie said. Yeah, Ken naps, and today he's sick. Well, while you're here in Montgomery, Alabama, and you're at loose ends, call me. By 7:55 p.m., back at Spring Hill Marriott, JR takes Leslie swimming. I remember when we first met. You were on the Reese swimming team, Leslie said. Is that why you said yes when I asked you out? JR asked. You were a skinny, wiry hunk at age 14 when we dated, Leslie said. Last year, I got divorced, and Daddy sent me here to take care of Grandpa. Why'd you dump me? Daddy felt I was getting too close to the boys, and he knows how powerful your father is. Daddy sent me to Miss Porter's in Connecticut. You still in school? Oh no. I have a 2-year-old boy, so after I graduated, I went to work for a management consulting firm, Pepperidge Inc. in Midland. JR bristles. Yeah, that's it is that threw parties this spring at the ranch and got Daddy stinking drunk. That's why I'm moving to Lubbock next year, going to work for a state senator. Interesting, JR said. Montford is his name. Daddy wants to keep him in power. I don't care what my father says. My mother admires the Hendrick power. I'm not the prep school boy you knew 9 years ago, Leslie. Daddy had a hand in that. By 8:40 p.m., JR has been playing Monopoly with Ken for 10 minutes. Ken apologizes for not being there with JR, as he had been vomiting as soon as they got to the hotel. But he promises he should be available tomorrow before JR goes to his interview at the Alabama State Capitol. Are you in love with her? Ken asked. With who? J.R. asked. Leslie. No, she has a kid and is divorced. I don't want her. I talked to Jim Bob Horton. Since seeing as you two dare me that if I don't ask Karen Crowder out, both of you will ask her out. So I'm going to call her tomorrow, ask her out to church. Maybe we can do dinner when we get back. Stupid Brad will warn you. She's got a feminist side. Well, not a radical feminist side. But until you ask her to marry you, she insists on paying for her meal. Where'd she get that? From her mother. Remember? Mom said she was power hungry. She's been around Democratic Party circles for the past 2 years. Maybe that's why Daddy wants me to ask her out. Infiltrate the enemy. Jim Hendrick is a conservative. Go figure. And I just landed on and buying Park Place. Daddy is a moderate, John F. Kennedy Democrat, who sure as hell didn't vote for Clinton. Man, trade me Park Place for Baltic Avenue. $200, J.R. said. Man, you'll top me out. Mortgage Pennsylvania Railroad, J.R. said. Ben is a deal. Meanwhile, in the hotel in Bellevue, Mexico, Jim and Claude are going over the management figures for the rig and find many problems. Sell the rig, Jim said. It's a loss. Sell it? Claude said. We'll have to eat up the cost, and the only oil company who will buy it is Franklin Martley, who will buy it for half again your original market price. Don't be a hard-ass, Claude, Jim demanded. If I find out the core samples are insignificant, we sell the thing tomorrow before lunch. 8:50 p.m. Meanwhile, Elizabeth Hendrick and Elizabeth Swain are relaxing in the Virginia Beach Hotel after the latter went through a private dialysis session. Both had Taco Bell along with an RC Cola and a moon pie. Also in Virginia Beach, 17-year-old Amy Kathleen is swimming in the hotel swimming pool when a boy approached her. You don't look like you come from around here, the man said. Billy Harrington, Cambridge. My father works for the Defense Department. Amy Swain, what brings you to this hotel? Oh, just supporting my way through college. Dad wants me to keep going to Regent University, study government. High society appeals to my end of the family. And my cousin J.R. Hendrick. I heard he won handily for the Tech swimming fitness team here last October. Man, his friend Brad made fun of him I would have decked him for doing that. Thanks a lot. I bet JR doesn't speak to that friend too much anymore. His daddy controls his life. Jim Hendrick, Texas Railroad Commissioner, Texas Energy Commission. He wouldn't be getting these appointments if it weren't for my parents. 9 p.m. Meanwhile, back at the hotel in Montgomery. Man, Ken said, you landed on Kentucky Avenue? I need that to complete my set. Rules are, you said. Play for blood, JR said. Sell me Tennessee Avenue, and we have an even trade. How much? $200. $200? You're killing me. Mortgage North Carolina, and you got a deal, JR said. The banker closed up shop, Ken teased. 9:30 p.m. JR lands on Ventnor Avenue and owes Ken a lot of money. Okay, that's it. I'm tapped out, Jared said morosely. I'm bankrupt. If you'd mortgaged Virginia Avenue, you wouldn't have to come to this. Besides, I kept having to pay you because I kept landing on Mediterranean Baltic. Tomorrow's another day, Gerald said. The twists and turns continued again on January 27th, 1993. On July 27th, 1993. At 6 a.m., JR and Ken are up playing checkers. Between those two, it's anyone's game, as they both have unique strategies. Ken is good at tactical moves with careful strategy, while JR is good at having strategic thinking with a calculated risk. Meanwhile, in Virginia Beach, Elizabeth takes a walk on the beach with Amy Kathleen. She misses Jim, but she knows the conflict in their marriage on business versus ranching, and she believes that's why he agreed to send JR on this tour vacation. 8:30 a.m. JR and Ken have cinnamon rolls for breakfast at the hotel restaurant. Ken drinks chocolate milk, even though JR is drinking orange juice. 9:05 a.m. JR and Ken are playing contract rubbing. Even though JR loses the game, often he's having fun with the competition. He enjoys playing it because of Ken. Meanwhile, in Bellum, New Mexico, Claude sees that the output is quite a bit better from the day before and tells Jim not to sell the rig. They then decided that tomorrow night they would fly to Deming, New Mexico. 12 p.m. JR and Ken are having lunch in a sandwich shop in Montgomery. Ken has a ham and cheese sandwich with barbecue sauce, but JR has a turkey sandwich with mustard, cheese, and mushrooms. 1:10 p.m. Ken decides to go upstairs and take a nap, so JR decides to go for a swim. Things have been going reasonably well between Ken and JR, except Ken was upset by the many political interviews JR had to go through to please his father. Meanwhile, back in Virginia Beach, Christine goes swimming with Amy Kathleen. There, Christine runs into a young man. What brings you to Virginia Beach?